That's what you need to do. So how do we go about that? It's very simple. So here we have the H1. The H1 simply means your headers, and it is the main heading. It is the main heading. So the tags, we have the opening and the closing. This is the opening and this is the closing. So opening just like this and closing just like this. So the challenge is that we need to change this hello world to cat photo app. So I'm going to change it from here. I have cat photo app. So if I check, if you check this other site, the output, you will agree with me that it has already taken effect. It has already changed. So if I check the code, let's see if our code passed. So you can see, congratulations, your code passes. Okay. So you need to submit your code to continue. So to submit your code, you just click on this button. So submit your code and then you go to the next challenge. Okay. Awesome. So let's go to the next challenge. Now, step number 2. The H1 through H6 heading elements are used to signify the importance of content below them. The lower the number, the higher the importance. So H2 elements have less importance than H1 elements. Only use H1 elements per page and place lower importance headings below the higher importance headings. Now, what does this mean? It means that H1 has the higher importance heading, followed by H2, followed by H3, H4, H5, and H6. So invariably, there are 6 headings, H1 through H6. There is nothing like H7, so it stops at H6. Now let's see our tags. Below the H1 element, add an H2 element with this text, cat photos. So below here, I'm going to say H2. Then I close the tag. Then inside the tag, the opening and the closing, I'm going to write cat photos. Just like that. Cat photos. So you can see, so this is the H1 and this is the H2. So you can see H1 has a higher importance, followed by H2. Okay, so this is the main heading, followed by H2. So let's check our code if the code passes. If it passes, it's going to tell us congratulations. If it does not pass, it's going to tell us sorry, and we need to do something to correct it. So congratulations, your code passed. And I said, yippee. So we need to submit this code and then go to the next challenge. I hope you are following. If you are following, type in the comment section that you are following. You can always use the comment section to ask questions or to communicate with me. Okay? So if you are following, just type following in the comment section. So let's go to the next code. So the next challenge, now you can see our project is building up gradually. So step 3, we want to talk about the P tag. And the P tag is actually the paragraph. Is the paragraph. So the P element is used to create a paragraph of text on websites. What is the instruction? Create a P element below your H2 element and give it the following text. See more card photos in our gallery. So below here, I'm going to create a P tag. I'll close it up. Then in between, I'll type see more cards photos in our gallery. So you can see the paragraph is already written in the output, and it shows that we are doing the right thing. So if I check the code, congratulations, your code passes. So we're making progress, okay? So I'll submit the code and then I'll go to the next challenge. This is step 4. Commenting allows you to leave messages without affecting the browser display. It also allows you to make code inactive. A comment in HTML starts with the less than sign, exclamation, then your hyphen. Then it will now contain any number of lines of text and ends with hyphen, and then your greater than sign. For example, the comment to do remove H1 contains the text to do remove H1. So add a comment above the P element with this text. So we want to place a comment with this text, and it's going to be above the P element, above the paragraph element, above the paragraph element. That's what we want to do. Okay, so above the paragraph element, I'm just going to put it here. So the comment is your less than sign, exclamation, hyphen, then I'll type to do in caps, then full column, because that's the instruction, add link to cat photos, then hyphen, then I close it. So we have done just that. You will agree with me that above this paragraph element, you did not see this write-up. And why is it that you do not see this write-up? It is because it is a comment. So browsers usually ignore comments. They ignore the comments. They do not display them on your browsers, on your page. They don't display them. They also make your code to be inactive. For instance, if it is a code that you are commenting out, it simply means that that code will not work or will not run because you have commented it out. Then comments can also be used to explain your code. Okay? It can also be used to explain your code. So let's proceed. Let's check. Congratulations, your code passes. Submit your code and then continue. So let's submit. We'll go to the next step. So step 5. Step 5. HTML has some elements that identify different content areas. These elements make your HTML easier to read and help with search engine optimization and accessibility. So search engine optimization is your SEO, search engine optimization. Now identify the main section of this page by adding a main opening tag before the H1 element and a close main, that is closing tag, after the P element. So what we are asked to do is I'm going to add a main tag before the H1, that is here. So I'm going to say main, then I'm going to close this up after the P tag. So this is the P. After the P tag, I'm going to close the main. That's just what we are required to do. So I'm going to check the code. Congratulations, your code passes. So our code is definitely working. It's working. The code is working. So let's go to the next challenge. Step 6. In the previous step, you put the H1, H2, comment, and P elements inside the main element. This is called nexting. Nexted elements should be placed 2 spaces further to the right of the element should be placed 2 spaces further to the right of the elements they are nested in. This spacing is called indentation, and it is used to make HTML easier to read. Okay? So the H1 element, H2 element, and the comments are indented 2 spaces more than the main elements, as you can see. So when you push them inside, you nest them inside. This is called indentation. So the H1 element, the H2 element, and the comments are indented 2 spaces more than the main elements in the code below. Use a space bar on your keyboard to add 2 more spaces in front of the P element so that it is indented properly as well. So this is what we are asked to do. So this is the P element. I'm going to use the space bar. I'm going to add 2 more spaces. So the first time, the second time. So you will now notice that all of them are in the same line, in the same space. Okay, so they are all properly indented. So let me check the code if it passes. Congratulations, the code passes. I'm going to submit and go to the next challenge, which is 7. So you can see we are gradually building our app. We are gradually building the app. Okay, so steps number 7, you can add images to your website by using the image elements, IMG elements. The IMG elements have an opening tag without a closing tag. So a tag for an element without a closing tag is known as a self-closing tag. It is known as a self-closing tag. So add an IMG element below the P element. So at this point, no images will be shown up in the browser. No images will be shown up in the browser. So what are we expected to do? We are expected to add an image element below this P element. This is the P element, the paragraph element. So I'm going to add an image element. So to add an image element, you just need to say ing. So it has an opening tag, but it does not have a closing tag. So any tag or element that has opening but no closing simply means that that tag is known as a self-closing tag. So the image tag is a self-closing tag. So we have added the image element, the ing, below the P or the paragraph element. So let's see if our code checks. Congratulations, we did the right thing. So below here, you now see the percentage. You see the progress. You can see this is 10% complete, 10% complete. So let's go to the next. Submit and go to the next. So step number 8. Step number 8. HTML attributes are special words used inside the opening tag of an element to control the element's behavior. The source attribute is an image element specifies the image URL, that is where the image is located. Here is an example of an image element with a source, that is SRC attribute, pointing to the FreeCodeCamp logo. So this is it. So giving us this example. So the image element has an attribute. An attribute is anything, element that gives more information. It gives more information about that particular element. So this source gives more information about the image elements. It is called the source or the SRC. And you can see the source is pointing to the URL of the FreeCodeCamp logo. Okay, so now what are we expected to do? They said inside the existing image element, add an SRC attribute with this URL. This is the URL we are asked to add. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to come here and I'll say SRC equal to, I'll now say double quotes, because they asked us to add the SRC attribute with this URL. Where is the URL? This one that you are seeing. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to copy this URL. Copy. And I'm going to paste it. Okay. So you can see, I already have my image already. Okay. So let me check the code. Congratulations, our code passes. Okay. So we have learned a lot. We have learned the heading tag. We have learned the paragraph. We have learned images, attributes, and also how to add images on our web page. Okay. So this is where we are going to stop for tonight's class.